Today we're focusing on one watercolor skill, painting reflections. Today's video is sponsored by CuppaClip Watercolor Sketchbook, and more about them a little later in the video. Reflections are one of those watercolor techniques that at first look complicated, but once you understand some few simple shapes and brush strokes, reflections can actually become pretty fun to paint. A few weeks ago, I painted this painting of two guys in a canoe. It reminds me of growing up in Western Washington and having many trips with my family out on Lake Cushman on the Olympic Peninsula. After spending a whole week painting this painting, I really liked how this reflection turned out. I wanted to go over a few items that really helped make this reflection look more believable. The first is water reflects the sky. The first thing I noticed is water will reflect the sky and the objects above it. That means if your sky is soft and light, your water should probably be soft and light. If the sky is gray and moody, your water will pick up on that too. A lot of beginners paint water bright blue automatically, but most real water, it's actually neutral, more of a gray coloring. Because the water will reflect what's above it, usually the reflections will often be darker than the subject matters above it. The second thing is focus on your vertical strokes first, then your horizontal strokes. Take your main subjects, trees, boats, the people, even in this case, the paddles that are being used, and then you'll want to mirror them with your reflection below. You'll want to use some common sense with this process. For example, the paddle is entering the water at an angle, and the reflection is mirroring that angle opposite in the water. When you look at the figures, they're kind of in a triangular shape, and that triangular shape will mimic it below in the reflection. Don't worry, you don't have to overthink it. After you've put in those vertical strokes, then you'll want to come in afterwards with the horizontal strokes. Horizontally, you'll want to soften the sides of the vertical shape. The combination of creating both of those will create the illusion of water's movement. The third thing you want to remember about reflections is the reflections need to have broken edges. A perfect reflection will usually look fake. If this looked exactly like a mirror, where what was above looked exactly underneath, it would not look real. A real reflection will have breaks constantly seen in the reflection. There's ripples interrupting the shapes. Edges will disappear. The water will distort everything. Water naturally moves, so reflections should wobble slightly. If you notice in the canoe reflection, there's dark areas that will skip, break apart. The shapes will break, and then lines will disappear and then reconnect. That randomness will create the realism you're looking for in your reflection. Today's video is sponsored by CuppaClip Watercolor Sketchbook. I want to thank CuppaClip for sending me both a hot press and cold press sketchbook. A great way to be able to capture those images when you're out and about, out in nature. Now, if you want to learn more about these sketchbooks, click on the description link below and let's get into the painting. I want to do a quick pencil line of the horizon and where the trunk of the trees are, just to be able to map out overall what I'm hoping to accomplish. Now I want to make sure I remember those three key tips for horizon, being that the reflection of the water is going to reflect the sky. This is going to be more of a cloudy, darker gray sky in comparison to a cloudless sky. I also wanted to make sure that the vertical lines are put in first, of matching or mirroring the trees above the horizon, and then finally come in and adding horizontal details to mimic the movement of the water that's taking place. Now through this process, I wanted to make sure that the tallest trees had the tallest reflections. That way it would look naturally what you would see out in nature. I also wanted to keep adding layers of depth to add the darkness of what would be found under the trees and add that darkness also within the reflection as well. Even after doing the initial trees above and below, I wanted to come in afterwards and make the water a little bit darker than what the sky is up above. One tip that I highly recommend is when you're doing your reflection, use the wet on wet technique. So it will naturally blur the colors out in comparison to the sharpness of the branches that you can see up above. Thanks again for watching this video about reflections and how you can have them look more natural in your watercolor painting. And again, thanks to CuppaClip for providing these wonderful sketchbooks that we can use. If you want to learn more, check out that description link. And thanks again for watching. See you each week.